Tiny homes. Everyone seems to be talking about them right now. Even the Daily Mail, the #1 selling newspaper in the UK, just did a big article. 1 in every 100 homes in the US sold right now is a tiny home. That is incredible if you think about how many homes are selling every day here in America. So today, I'm going to talk about tiny homes. Is it worth it? Everyone seems to love them, but what is the drawback? I'm telling you right now, there are a lot of pitfalls to buying a tiny home, and today in this video, I'm going to tell you all about them. If that's what you're looking for? Come on, let's go. With mortgage rates soaring to over 6%, the average price of a home in America skyrocketed to almost $450,000. Home buyers are trying to think of more creative ways to purchase a home. Right now, Home Depot is selling tiny homes for less than $50,000. That's the down payment on a lot of homes. So it's really enticing when people think, wow, honey, we can buy a house for 50 grand and live happily ever after. Let's do it. Doesn't it sound wonderful? But today I'm going to talk about the dangers. I want to give you a little bit of information, the research you have to do before jumping into this project. Because guess what? There are a lot of people right now tearing their hair out after what they've had to go through. So let's get right to it. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome. I'm Tilley, the British bloke. I'm a realtor in LA County, Orange County. So if you are looking to make a move here or you have any questions about tiny homes, is it a good idea for you? Please reach out. I'm always happy to help. Spur, Texas was the first city in the whole of America to allow tiny homes. And ever since then, it's now the cool kids. It's real trendy. Everyone's talking about it. But like I said, today I'm going to tell you some drawbacks. You don't just buy a tiny home, put it on some land and live in it forever and ever. You have so much to do. These prices that you're seeing, that doesn't come with windows. It doesn't come with doors, air conditioning, insurance, even the land. So it can really start to add up. If you think you're going to buy a tiny home for $30,000 out of pocket expenses, you're in for a big surprise. So let's now jump into all the expenses, what you need to do, the permits, do you need to talk to the city? So if you're making this investment, you know 100% what you're going to do, and 100% you're not going to build this home and have to knock it down when the city finds out. #1 drawback, they're hard to finance. If you've got cash, great, but not a lot of people have just 30, 40, 50 grand in cash lying around. If you want to finance these, if you're lucky enough to find a company to finance these, congratulations, but you're probably going to have to get a personal loan. And you might not be buying a house because interest rates are close to 7%. But guess what? To buy one of these with a personal loan with good credit, you're looking at around 10% interest. Now, if credit's not good, you're looking at 15 to 25% to finance your tiny home. So if you're thinking of buying a tiny home because interest rates have skyrocketed, see if you can get a loan on it. Probably can't. Personal loan, going to be really expensive. Also, let's remember, a lot of people are thinking, well, buy this tiny home for 50K, that's great. Well, you got to put it somewhere, right? So you either need to buy land, however much you want. That's not cheap. Land ain't cheap. Now, when you buy the land, well, you better hope it has sewer, electricity. If not, you've got to add that. Now, if you're not buying land and you're going to put it on someone else's land, well, guess what? You're going to have to lease that land. You might be leaving your rental property that you've been renting for 10 years because you're fed up of paying rent. But if you put this tiny home on some land, good chance you're going to have to be paying someone to lease that land. It's basically like renting all over again. So do your research. How much does the land cost? How much does it cost to put a sewer line in, to put the water in, to put the electricity in if it doesn't have it? It adds up fast, trust me. Now, maybe you found the land to put the tiny home on. You're like, this is amazing. Before you buy the land, before you buy the tiny home, reach out to the city, reach out to the county that you're looking to do it in and ask them, is this allowed? Now it's becoming more popular, more neighborhoods and areas are allowing tiny homes. It wasn't the case 5 years ago. But do your due diligence. Don't buy this home, don't buy this land, get all the contractors ready without asking for city permits and approval. That will give you sleepless nights, trust me. First thing you should do. If you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe. I do videos every week on what it's like to live in LA County, buying tiny homes, building ADUs, all of the above. So if that's what you're looking for, hope you join my channel. Another point people forget about, they think they're buying this tiny home for 30, 40, 50K and that's it. No, you have to put this home together. It often doesn't come with the doors or the windows, all the extras, the kitchen. You're gonna have to pay a contractor to do this. Yes, you can do it yourself. It's not necessarily the hardest thing to do in the world, but check. A lot of insurance companies, if you, that buyer, personally builds the tiny home, they won't insure it. They want a licensed general contractor to build the tiny home for you. So check with your insurance company and check with the general contractor. How much do they charge to put this tiny home together? Once again, it's not going to be cheap. Also, another point about insurance, if you have this tiny home built somewhere else and then you're going to have it towed into your land, check insurance again. If you tow this tiny home with your own truck and something terrible happens, crash, it breaks, a lot of insurance companies, your insurance companies, will not insure the tiny home. That means it might be worth looking into a company who has insurance for tiny homes and have them tow it for you. Yes, it's another expense, but if you have this tiny home built, you tow it on your own truck, you crash, someone rams into it, and your tiny home isn't insured, ouch. And let's remember, when you buy a home, a single family traditional home, over the years, statistically, every 7 years it doubles in value. Now it might be more like every 10 to 11 years, but it does double in value. But remember, it's the land that increases. When you have a $1 million home in Southern California, look how much it is to build your home in the insurance policy. It's probably only about $350,000, which means the land is 650 grand. Is my math right? Yeah, I think it is. So remember, when you own a traditional home, it's gonna go up in value. You're gonna make money. When you buy a tiny home, it's depreciating. Buying a tiny home is not a great investment. You're not gonna sell it and triple the price in 20 years and then sell it. Yes, it will devalue, of course. And if you do buy another one or move somewhere else, a tiny home could be a great rental property for you, a great Airbnb for you, absolutely. But if you're buying a tiny home thinking that it's going to appreciate like a regular house, not the case. You will lose money on a tiny home. I'm really trying to create a community vibe, so if I've missed anything out in this video, if you have any comments, what should we add? Please comment below, answer any questions other subscribers might have. That way we're going back and forth, everyone's getting the information they want, and the channel builds and gets more popular. Love that. Also, yes, it sounds dreamy. Buy a tiny home, live with my family and my dog and my child. Save so much money, spend that money on traveling and other things. We are going to live happily ever after. Well, sometimes big shock, like during COVID, remember? Everyone was in their 1,300 square foot house or their 1,200 square foot house, even their 1,800 square foot house, and felt claustrophobic. We could never go outside, we were stuck. Well, imagine buying a 500-600 square foot tiny home and living in there with your spouse, your kid, your dog, or just even your spouse. Make sure you can do it. You're going to be on top of each other. You're going to be cramped. Could it cause friction? You don't have any space. So really think about it before you buy. Yes, on paper it sounds great, but the logistics, once you move in, sometimes it is cramped. Maybe hire a camper van or an Airstream. Go away for a couple of weeks. Can you live together for 2 weeks? If you can't, don't buy a tiny home. And obviously the climate. If you're in warmer climates, the place is going to get hot. You have to potentially add AC. That is expensive. Or position the windows correctly. Speak to a contractor. Where should we put the windows in order to get the breeze? How should we locate the house on the lot in order to get a breeze? Depending on where you live, it can be hot. If you live in a cooler climate, it can get very cold. If you just have a fireplace in there and you've got to keep it warm with wood, I know people whose budget is like $350, $400 a month during the winter months just to keep the place warm. That's not saving you money. So make sure you have heaters because they can get very hot in the warmer climates and very cold in the colder climates. And I think the number one thing you have to think about when buying a tiny home, you can't just put it on any lot that you buy and think that you have a home. The costs of putting a sewer line in if it doesn't have one, a septic tank, or even linking it to the municipal septic tank, power, it can get so expensive. Do you need to build a garage? So you must, absolutely categorically telling you right now, you must look into these prices, because you could buy a tiny home for 50 grand, sounds awesome, but by the time everything is said and done, the furnishings of the tiny home, getting it all ready to rock and roll, you could be doubling your money, 100 grand easily, if not more. It's why a lot of reasons someone thinks an ADU is a great idea, but by the time they've seen the expenses, I've just had it recently, by the time they saw the costs of building this ADU, $250,000, they're like, oh my word, it's not worth it anymore. A lot of people are thinking about that on tiny homes now. They think it's a great idea, then they look at the costs and it's not quite cost effective as they think. So do your homework. That all said, the negatives, I do think tiny homes are great. Like I said, more and more cities now, states, are welcoming tiny homes. They see it as a way to help with the housing issue. Rents have gone up 135% since 1999. In the same time, income has only gone up 78%. So there's a big disparity now in affordability, and tiny homes can really help you out. And I'm in favor of it as long as you do your due diligence, because you can buy these things and you can have sleepless nights trying to work it out. I remember when I used to come to America 20, 30 years ago with my family, and we used to always say how cheap America was. Eating out, clothes, buying homes. We couldn't believe it. People would fly from London to New York at Christmas to do Christmas shopping because it was that much cheaper. Now, when my family comes to visit me here in LA, it's the opposite. They can't believe how expensive everything has got. And real estate has just skyrocketed. So if you can buy a tiny home, get it on a piece of land that you're not leasing, and get everything taken care of for a price that is comfortable for you, definitely look into it. You can get some really fancy, trendy, tiny homes that look futuristic, modern, and beautiful. Or if you want the log cabins or the A-frames, the rustic look, you can get that too. The world is your oyster. There's an abundance of choices that you're going to enjoy. But like I said, do your homework. It's not as easy as going online, buying a tiny home, living happily ever after. But if you put in some research, give me a call, talk to your local contractors, I guarantee you can be very, very happy with the outcome. If you've liked this video, my name's Matt Tilley, the British bloke. I'm a local realtor in LA County. And if I can help you in any way, reach out. Hope to hear from you.